a kid, I don't want no stress. My nerves are bad, my life's a mess. The names you call me, they are real bad. I wanna tell my mom, but she's having trouble with my dad. I feel so trapped, there's nowhere to turn. Come to school, don't wanna fight, I wanna learn. So please, Mr. Bully, tell me what I've done. You know I have no dad, I'm living with my mom. 'Cause I'm hopeful, yes I am hopeful for today. Take this music and use it, let it take you away. And be hopeful, hopeful, and he'll make a way. I know it ain't easy, but that's okay, just be hopeful. Why do you trip by the color on my skin, or whether I'm fat, or whether I'm thin? You call me a loser, you call me a fool. I ain't got a choice, I gotta go to school. I wish I had an angel to stand by my side. I'm shaking with fear, I'm so scared inside. Does it really matter if I ain't got the looks? Why do you always hurt me and destroy my books? 'Cause I'm hopeful, yes I am hopeful for today. Take this music and use it, let it take you away. And be hopeful, hopeful, and he'll make a way. I know it ain't easy, but that's okay, just be hopeful. I give you all my money every single day. I didn't ask to be born, but now I have to pay. I ain't got no food, you take all I have. When I give it to you, search through my bags. I wrote this song for you to see. We could have been friends, yeah, you and me. Mr. Bully, take a moment, please. Every single day, you bring me to my knees. 'Cause I'm hopeful, yes I am hopeful for today. Take this music and use it, let it take you away. And be hopeful, hopeful, and he'll make a way. I know it ain't easy, but that's okay. 'Cause I'm hopeful, yes I am hopeful for today. Take this music and use it, let it take you away. And be hopeful, hopeful, and he'll make a way. I know it ain't easy, but that's okay, just be hopeful. What I wear is all I have. We lost the home, I'm living from a bag. Yo, Mr. Bully, help me please. I'm flesh and blood, accept me please.
You can be amazing, you can turn a phrase into a weapon or a drug. You can be the outcast to be the backlash of somebody's lack of love. Or you can start speaking up. Nothing's gonna hurt you the way the words do when they settle near your skin. Kept on the inside.
guys, nama gue Stefani sebagai ketua dari Divisi Creative Communication BEM Podomoro University. Salah satu program kerja kami adalah Brile Media.
Nama gue Tasya sebagai PIC dari Brile TV dan Brile Instagram.
Halo, nama gue Fania sebagai PIC dari Brile Magazine.
Di Brile Media kita mempunyai 3 platform yang kita kembangkan, yaitu Brile Instagram, Brile TV, dan Brile Magazine.
Di dalam Brile, kita akan membuat konten-konten yang seru dan interaktif.
Dan tentunya, kita akan mengundang seluruh sivitas akademika Podomoro University.
Serta narasumber-narasumber lainnya dari luar instansi Podomoro University.
Di Brile TV, kita bakal nge-vlog, main games, liput acara-acara kampus, dan konten seru lainnya.
Di Brile Instagram, kita akan memposting berita, informasi up to date, dan fun fact yang kalian jarang ketahui.
Di Brile Magazine, kita membuat series majalah yang membahas mengenai kegiatan aktivitas di Podomoro University.
Jadi, jangan lupa untuk subscribe BEM Podomoro University,
Follow @Brile Media,
Dan cek Brile Magazine di link bio Instagram @brilemedia.
Stay tune!
Hai guys, nama gue Stefani sebagai ketua dari Divisi Creative Communication BEM Podomoro University. Salah satu program kerja kami adalah Brile Media.
Nama gue Tasya sebagai PIC dari Brile TV dan Brile Instagram.
Halo, nama gue Fania sebagai PIC dari Brile Magazine.
Di Brile Media kita mempunyai 3 platform yang kita kembangkan, yaitu Brile Instagram, Brile TV, dan Brile Magazine.
Di dalam Brile, kita akan membuat konten-konten yang seru dan interaktif.
Dan tentunya, kita akan mengundang seluruh sivitas akademika Podomoro University.
Serta narasumber-narasumber lainnya dari luar instansi Podomoro University.
Di Brile TV, kita bakal nge-vlog, main games, liput acara-acara kampus, dan konten seru lainnya.
Di Brile Instagram, kita akan memposting berita, informasi up to date, dan fun fact yang kalian jarang ketahui.
Di Brile Magazine, kita membuat series majalah yang membahas mengenai kegiatan aktivitas di Podomoro University.
Jadi, jangan lupa untuk subscribe BEM Podomoro University,
Follow @Brile Media,
Dan cek Brile Magazine di link bio Instagram @brilemedia.
Stay tune!
Yeah. Please help me, God. I feel so alone. I'm just a kid. I can't take it on my own. I've cried so many tears, yeah, writing this song. Trying to fit in, where do I belong? I wake up every day, don't wanna leave my home. My mama's asking me why I'm always alone. Too scared to say, too scared to holler. I'm walking to school with sweat around my collar. I'm just a kid, I don't want no stress. My nerves are bad, my life's a mess. The names you call me, they hurt real bad. I wanna tell my mom, but she's having trouble with my dad. I feel so trapped, there's nowhere to turn. Come to school, don't wanna fight, I wanna learn. So please, Mr. Bully, tell me what I've done. You know I have no debt, I'm living with my mom. 'Cause I'm
hopeful, yes I am hopeful for today. Take this music and use it, let it take you away. And be hopeful, hopeful, and he'll make a way. I know it ain't easy, but that's okay, just be hopeful.
Why do you trip by the color of my skin, or whether I'm fat, or whether I'm thin? You call me a loser, you call me a fool. I ain't got a choice, I gotta go to school. I wish I had an angel to stand by my side. I'm shaking with fear, I'm so scared inside. Does it really matter if I ain't got the looks? Why do you always hurt me and destroy my
'Cause I'm
books?
hopeful, yes I am hopeful for today. Take this music and use it, let it take you away. And be hopeful, hopeful, and he'll make a way. I know it ain't easy, but that's okay, just be
I
hopeful.
give you all my money every single day. I didn't ask to be born, but now I have to pay. I ain't got no food, you take all I have. When I give it to you, search through my bags. I wrote this song for you to see. We could have been friends, yeah, you and me. Mr. Bully, take a moment, please. Every single day, you bring me to my
'Cause I'm
knees.
hopeful, yes I am hopeful for today. Take this music and use it, let it take you away. And be hopeful, hopeful, and he'll make a way. I know it ain't easy, but that's okay. 'Cause I'm hopeful, yes I am hopeful for today. Take this music and use it, let it take you away. And be hopeful.
me, please. I'm flesh and blood, accept me, please.
You can be amazing, you can turn a phrase into a weapon or a drug. You can be the outcast, to be the backlash of somebody's lack of love. Or you can start speaking up. Nothing's gonna hurt you the way the words do when they settle near your skin. Kept on the inside and no sunlight, sometimes a shadow wins. But I wonder what would happen if you say what you wanna say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave with what you wanna say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave. Just wanna see you. I just wanna see you. Just wanna see you. I wanna see you be brave. Just wanna see you. I just wanna see you. Just wanna see you. I wanna see you be brave.
Hai guys, nama gue Stefani, sebagai ketua dari Divisi Creative Communication BEM Podomoro University. Salah satu program kerja kami adalah Brile Media.
Nama gue Tasya sebagai PIC dari Brile TV dan Brile Instagram.
Halo, nama gue Fania sebagai PIC dari Brile Magazine.
Di Brile Media kita mempunyai 3 platform yang kita kembangkan, yaitu Brile Instagram, Brile TV, dan Brile Magazine.
Di dalam Brile, kita akan membuat konten-konten yang seru dan interaktif.
Dan tentunya kita akan mengundang seluruh sivitas akademika Podomoro University.
Serta narasumber-narasumber lainnya dari luar instansi Podomoro University.
Di Brile TV, kita bakal nge-vlog, main games, liput acara-acara kampus, dan konten seru lainnya.
Di Brile Instagram, kita akan memposting berita, informasi up to date, dan fun fact yang kalian jarang ketahui.
Di Brile Magazine, kita membuat series majalah yang membahas mengenai kegiatan aktivitas di Podomoro University.
Jadi, jangan lupa untuk subscribe BEM Podomoro University,
Follow @Brile Media,
Dan cek Brile Magazine di link bio Instagram @brilemedia.
Stay tuned.
Hai guys, nama gue Stefani, sebagai ketua dari Divisi Creative Communication BEM Podomoro University. Salah satu program kerja kami adalah Brile Media.
Nama gue Tasya sebagai PIC dari Brile TV dan Brile Instagram.
Halo, nama gue Fania sebagai PIC dari Brile Magazine.
Di Brile Media kita mempunyai 3 platform yang kita kembangkan, yaitu Brile Instagram, Brile TV, dan Brile Magazine.
Di dalam Brile, kita akan membuat konten-konten yang seru dan interaktif.
Dan tentunya kita akan mengundang seluruh sivitas akademika Podomoro University.
serta narasumber-narasumber lainnya dari luar instansi Podomoro University.
Di Brile TV, kita bakal nge-vlog, main games, liput acara-acara kampus, dan konten seru lainnya.
Di Brile Instagram, kita akan memposting berita, informasi up to date, dan fun fact yang kalian jarang ketahui.
Di Brile Magazine, kita membuat series majalah yang membahas mengenai kegiatan aktivitas di Podomoro University.
Jadi, jangan lupa untuk subscribe BEM Podomoro University,
follow @Brile Media,
dan cek Brile Magazine di link bio Instagram @brilemedia.
Stay tuned!
Hai guys, nama gue Stefani, sebagai ketua dari Divisi Creative Communication BEM Podomoro University. Salah satu program kerja kami adalah Brile Media.
Nama gue Tasya sebagai PIC dari Brile TV dan Brile Instagram.
Halo, nama gue Fania sebagai PIC dari Brile Magazine.
Di Brile Media kita mempunyai 3 platform yang kita kembangkan, yaitu Brile Instagram, Brile TV, dan Brile Magazine.
Di dalam Brile, kita akan membuat konten-konten yang seru dan interaktif.
Dan tentunya kita akan mengundang seluruh sivitas akademika Podomoro University.
Serta narasumber-narasumber lainnya dari luar instansi Podomoro University.
Di Brile TV, kita bakal nge-vlog, main games, liput acara-acara kampus, dan konten seru lainnya.
Di Brile Instagram, kita akan memposting berita, informasi up to date, dan fun fact yang kalian jarang ketahui.
Di Brilliant Magazine, kita membuat series majalah yang membahas mengenai kegiatan aktivitas di Podomoro University.
Jadi, jangan lupa untuk subscribe BEM Podomoro University,
Follow @brilliantmedia,
Dan cek Brilliant Magazine di link bio Instagram @brilliantmedia.
Stay tune!
Good afternoon and welcome back to day 4 of Podomoro University series of growth 2.0, guys. My name is Girish Shamdasani and I'm back as your MC again for today. So a little bit of a recap. What is series of growth 2.0? It's actually a webinar hosted by Podomoro University that invites very inspiring people to give insight and topics and knowledge on how to further develop yourself. So kawan-kawan, yuk partisipan yang sudah ada di sini sekarang. Boleh dong minta reactionnya gitu, boleh clap hand, boleh like, boleh love, dan boleh juga guys kalian. Kalian itu dari mana sih? Boleh di chatnya tulis. Misalnya gue dari Jakarta nih. Oh halo kak, saya Giri _ Jakarta. Berarti saya Giri dari Jakarta gitu guys. Ayo guys, boleh guys. Gue ingin melihat kalian rata-rata dari mana aja. Oh, banyak nih yang masuknya nih. Oh, rame lu guys. Oh ada yang Jakarta. Anak dokum di Jakarta pasti itu mah ya. Ketemu kita di sini. Jakarta semua, banyak Jakarta guys kawan-kawan ya. Wah ada yang dari Bandung, sempat datang yang dari Bandung, yang dari mana aja. Mau dari Lampung, mau dari Natuna, mau dari Papua, mau dari Malaysia sekalipun. Welcome to the show kawan-kawan. Jadi before we start ya kawan-kawan, there are certain guidelines that needs to be followed by the participants and they are as so. First, every participant shall have their camera on except for unavoidable circumstances. Second, talk show participants are to use their virtual background in the duration of this event. Third, participants have to change their name format into name_major or major_name. It is up to you. For example, I am Giri and I'm from Hotel Business Program. So I'm changing my name into Giri_HBP or HBP_Giri. Now, all participants should behave with an acceptable manners and they should be properly dressed during the duration of this event. During the presentations, participants have to mute their microphones. Questions can be asked and conveyed through this chat column and will be answered during the Q&A session. Feedback form will be given for each certificate requirements at the end of the session. And participants photo session. Ayo guys, kapan lagi bisa foto bersama tamu kita yang amazing ini ya, entar lagi yang akan naik ya kawan-kawan. Jadi sebelum kami memulai, izinkan kami untuk menyanyikan lagu Indonesia Raya. Partisipan diharapkan untuk menyanyikan lagu Indonesia Raya dengan sikap siap dan hormat. Nyanyikan lagu Indonesia Raya. Partisipan sekarang diharapkan untuk mengepalkan tangan kanan dan meletakkannya di dada sebelah kiri untuk menyanyikan anthem Podomoro University. nyanyikan anthem Podomoro University.
Generasi muda merancang gagasan,
jadikan pendidikan sebagai pedoman.
Kami mahasiswa,
mahasiswi berbudi, sang penjaga budaya, wujudkan harmoni. Kita hadapan dosa, cerdas dan setia, berbudaya Indonesia, menggapai cita-cita. Boro-boro University, tempat kami menuju. Boro-boro University, kami bangga denganmu. Songsong hari esok, meraih cakrawala, ciptakan peluang, jangan menyerah. Giatkan semangat, pribadi bermanfaat, membangun negeri, membangun Nusantara. Kita hadapan dosa, kreatif berkarya, berbudaya Indonesia, terbaik dan berjaya. Boro-boro University, masa depan gemilang. Boro-boro University, bersama kita maju.
Partisipan dipersilakan untuk menurunkan tangannya. Jadi guys ya, for the moment you've been waiting for ya. Sebagai recap kawan-kawan ya, jadi yesterday we had two special guests, Ramzi and Kesha, that talked about relationships ya, relationship with your partner and vice versa. But today our special guest will talk more about how to have a better relationship, but with yourself. Now, as introduction guys, he is called the Prince of Jakarta's Indian food scene. Having grown up in the busy restaurant scenes of his family-owned Indian restaurant, he is currently the culinary director of Queen's Tender and is simultaneously a co-founder of his cloud kitchen, Two Fat Indians. Spending time in his family's own kitchen, his family's own restaurant, of course, guys, it ignited his passion, his creativity, of course. Oh my goodness, I'm just so amazed by this guy that I'm stuttering, guys. And now he lives by a very simple motto, simple but significant, applying it to all aspects in his life. Guys, without further ado, please welcome Mr. Girish Shamdasani. Oh my. Thank you so much, Mr. Girish Shamdasani, for coming, even though it's Diwali. Happy Diwali, Mr. Girish.
Thank you, guys.
Please sit down. Thank you. Now, Mr. Girish, we're going to talk a little bit about from zero to hero, is it? Presentation.
But before we start, actually, I just want to share with everybody here and as well everybody at home about my morning today.
Your morning, certainly, sir.
So, yeah, I woke up at 6 a.m. on the right side of my bed with a big smile on my face. You know, grab a big glass of water, put some lemon salt, Himalayan pink salt, they call it, and squeeze some lemon, drank it, went to the balcony, took a few deep breaths, went to the toilet, and started brushing my teeth, right? And my eyes are still half shut.
Yes.
And suddenly I looked in the mirror and I reminded to myself as to who I am. And I suddenly started hearing these voices in my head. Girish, you know, today is going to be your first time ever doing public speaking. And my heart started pounding and pounding and pounding and pounding. And then boom, I went into panic mode. I put on the brush. I started walking back and forth. I had anxiety, you know, those anxiety bowels. Butterflies, right? And I don't know what was happening. I was like telling myself, Gir, lu kan udah belajar semua notes dari Ibu Grace Tahir 2 hari yang lalu kan? All the notes from there, like you got this, like you can do this, right? And I'm just like, I can't. I keep on looking in the mirror. And yeah, so basically this is my first time ever doing public speaking. I'm really honored to be here. And when I first got this call from my niece Vershita, who's one of the comedians here as well, I honestly had no idea what to say, right? Because she told me to speak on a topic of personal growth and development, on the topic of from becoming a hero from being a zero, right? And I looked at myself, I'm like, I'm nowhere close to being a hero. So what am I going to talk to you about? So yeah, I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to sharing with you guys today on my own personal journey, and share with you guys as well on how you can improve your relationship, not just with others, but also with yourself.
Girish Shamdasani, well, the stage is yours, sir.
Yeah.
Please.
Thank you. So yeah, so I thought to myself then, what should I talk about, right? Should I talk about Queens and the success we had in the restaurant industry for the last 35 years? Or that how we survived the pandemic, for example? Or even the challenges, overcoming the challenges of working in the family business, right? And then I was like, maybe I could also talk about how during the pandemic, I'm a very quite innovative and creative person when it comes to food. So how I dived into starting a new business with my sister-in-law, diving into the cloud kitchen industry as well as starting into a new side hustle that's related to tech, right? So, and I was like putting myself in your shoes, and I was like, do I really want to be hearing to another business speaker, another speaker that would tell you the fundamental guidelines or the secret sauce or secret recipe in becoming a successful and happy entrepreneur? Or do I want to be sharing a new unfamiliar concept to you that's unique and maybe that you guys can apply on small, simple steps on a day-to-day life? So, you often see on Instagram as well, the 10 ways of becoming successful, the 5 habits of becoming a millionaire, those waking up at 4 in the morning,
those mainstream stuff,
journaling for 30 minutes and meditating for 20 minutes and, slaying the day, having a cold shower and so on, right? So I'll be honest with you, I do all of that. And sometimes I look into my bank account, I'm like, kok belum kaya-kaya gue, masih sama aja kayak gini kan?
Not yet, maybe.
Masih sama terus kan? So yeah, I mean, you can read all the books you want, you can listen to all the lectures you want in this university, listen to all the podcasts, listen to, watch all the YouTube videos, listen to other speakers like me, even listen to Tony Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk, telling you, you're gonna die, so better do what you gotta do right now, otherwise you're gonna regret your life, right? But at the end of the day, guys, what I can guarantee for sure is that there is no one solution in becoming successful and happy entrepreneur, right? So this is something that whatever I'm going to share with you today is again a new unfamiliar concept maybe for you guys, and yeah, something that you can take home and apply into your day-to-day lives. So yeah, so the question then goes on to how to become a hero, right? And here I said there is no secret sauce or guidance in becoming a successful, happy entrepreneur. Why do I say this? Is because a lot of you here and at home are all coming in from different backgrounds, different cultures, have different values. You guys have different beliefs, right? Different circumstances. So if that's the case, really, how can there be a guidance and a solution that fits everybody's story, right? So there is no secret sauce or secret recipe.
A bit below.
Here?
Yes.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Can you guys hear me now?
Oh.
Should I repeat again? No? Okay, carry on.
It was very clear before. Even without the volume, we can
No
know our
worries.
lessons.
Right. So although that we can all agree there is no specific solution or specific recipe, what I'm going to be sharing with you guys today is basically some sort of tools or guidance into how you can unlock these solutions yourself. Okay. So at this stage, I would like to ask you actually, Gary, like, what does it mean for you to become a hero? Like, what is your definition of a hero?
Definition of a hero, well, personally, I think it's more like being me who can help others throughout the way of being of the hero journey. So
Okay.
like even in the journey, I'm already a hero, but the end goal is to actually become is to become myself.
Okay. That's awesome. Well, if you ask a lot of people, the definition of a hero, I'm so proud you answered that actually. It's quite spot on. If you ask a lot of people on what do they define being a hero means, a lot of them would actually say that it's a significance or it's a reward or it's the validation that they get from other people, right? Whether it's your friends, whether it's a society, whether it's gaining an award in university, whether it's your parents telling you they're proud of you and so on, right? It's always something external. It's always an external validation or an external approval, like seeking that particular significance, right? So, or whether it's according to your values or your culture and society and so on. So having said that, guys, because we seek the definition of a hero from the outside and not from within, this is the source of all our habits and our anxieties and our fears. And this is exactly the resistance that's creating for us to tap into our own creativity, as well as what's stopping us from doing the action. Because if you're always doing something for the validation, from the validation of others or the approval, you're actually not doing you're not becoming your full potential. That's the one. So if you ask me, my definition of a hero is quite similar to yours. My definition of a hero is someone with the power and ability to be able to reduce themselves to zero, right? So I'm sure Varshita here must be like, who am I inviting, somebody crazy, asking me to talk about zero to hero, but now, it's telling everybody here to actually be a zero instead, right? So instead today, Gary, I'm going to be talking on the importance of becoming from a hero to a zero. We're going to flip the topic. And I got this concept basically from the great Mahatma Gandhi, who always says, I must reduce myself to zero, so long as the man does not of his own free will put himself last among his fellow creatures, there is no salvation for him. He also said, when you make yourself into zero, your power becomes invincible. Now, what does Gandhi really mean by this is reducing sort of the self-ego that we have as individuals from seeking that validation and approval from others, right? That's the part that you got to put, reduce yourself to zero, right? That the selfless love that we often do, for the benefit of others and the well-being of others instead of our own first. So it's always about putting other people in front first before ourselves. And this is exactly the true missing link in leadership today. So yeah, few things that Gandhi obviously mentioned that you need to do before I dive into depth as well. He mentioned that to be able to reduce your self-ego to zero, you need to be able to let go the need of validation and approval from others. You need to abandon the need and the want of becoming a hero, right? And as a leader, usually you seek contribution, not significance. Okay, you're always seeking to do something for the well-being of others. As entrepreneurs, you're always looking to solve problems for others and not for yourself. And then everything around it, whether it's action, money, and so on, it'll come as a byproduct for that. And finally, you want to be starting a movement or create some sort of change in others and sort of influence them, right? And for us to be able to do this, we need to be able to disconnect from everything around us, okay? Bring your mind into zero first. Figure out what are your true values? What are your true beliefs that relates to you? It might not make sense to everybody else, but yourself, right? And once you know what your true values are, is that when you decide to apply to other people and in their lives, right? And make them change for the better as well, right? Because at the end of the day, guys, it's really not you versus them. It's what you want to see you in them. Does that make sense? Yeah. So yeah, actually, before we go on the next slide, an example I want to give is with the success of our family business in Queens. And I've always seen how my dad was the first generation who was running the restaurant, still partly is. For the last 30 35 years, I think people ask me like, what is the secret? What is it how does Queen sort of last for the last 35 years? And yes, we've had the same, consistency when it comes to food and service and so on. But I think the real recipe is that when my dad has created a culture that revolved around the employees, the well-being of the employees. And that's why on average, a lot of our staff for the last 20, 25 years are still working with us, right? So I pretty much grew up with them. So that's really a key ingredient of success, right? When you put the staff first before yourself, before your own family as well, you are becoming that leader. You are really then becoming a hero, right? So there are 3 steps. I've divided the presentation into 3 different frameworks into reducing yourself to 0. The first is the inner work that you have to do, which is raising your consciousness. I'll define that a bit later. And this process is basically unlocking the beliefs and the values you have as a human being first, before trying to apply to other people, right? The second is practicing vulnerability. And this is where you have to purposely put yourself in uncomfortable positions in order to fail, because failure is the fastest way of succeeding. And finally is by using the 1% rule. So basically, yeah, you can dream all you want, you can put vision boards all you want, you can meditate all you want, you can visualize all you want, you can practice raising your consciousness, but if you do not act, nothing will move, nothing will change for you, right? And why I say the 1% rule, this is where we get into the power of compound interest as well, but not just into the stock market, but into your life. Okay, so the first part into reducing yourself to 0 is raising your consciousness. So let's first define what consciousness means. Okay, it's one of my favorite topics, by the way. So consciousness means the state of being aware and responsive. The state of being aware and responsive to one's surrounding, right? And I'm going to use a bit of science instead of religion or spirituality, just to dive into deeper on the power of your mind, because it's really, really strong. And I think a lot of you here, or maybe a lot of you at home, have not really looked into or tapped into and understand what can the mind do for you, right? So yeah, so if you guys are not familiar with awareness and consciousness, I don't know about you, are you quite familiar with it?
Me, myself, I have not, and I would love to hear it from you.
Yeah? Okay. So there are three types of awareness in your mind. We have the conscious mind, which is your, basically your critical mind, your logical mind, your thinking mind, what you sort of reveal yourself to the world, okay? Then we have your, it's okay, you can click next there. We have the unconscious mind, which is all your beliefs, your values, emotions, long-term memory, intuition, imagination. This is basically your core as a human being. What is deeply, deeply rooted that makes you who you are as a person, that creates your habits as a human being, your unconscious habits, And then we also have the pre-conscious mind, which is, you can just click next. So that's the conscious mind, unconscious mind, and then we have the pre-conscious mind. These are basically the thoughts that you are not actively thinking, but when you do can be easily triggered, right? So, but for the sake of this presentation and this speech, we're just going to be talking about the two state of awareness, which is the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. So guys, if you're not really familiar with this concept, it is also important to know that actually your unconscious mind makes up almost 95% of your brain power. So it really is something that you need to become familiar with, right? It handles everything inside your body, from breathing to the eating habits that you do, to how, your body language, for example, and so on, right? Even to when you're dreaming or even asleep dreaming, for example, this is all coming from your subconscious mind, even when you make memories. So if 95% of your brain power makes up your life right now and could also determine your future as a human being, does it then make sense for us, Gary, that it is important for us to become familiar with, it is important for us to tap in and to be able to control, as hard as it is, right? Because it's deeply, deeply grounded in your body, right? In your head. It's important for us to become aware of who we truly are in that sense, then what our beliefs are, what our values are as a human being, what are our habits, and then check in whether these habits and these values are actually aligned with what we want to achieve or what we want to influence others with. Because let's say you want something that you want to achieve in the future, right? And if you don't have the same values aligned to achieve that vision, you will never ever be able to achieve that vision, right? So you need to first look into yourself and ask yourself whether or not you have the necessary values that is in line with the vision that you want to achieve. So I say this because, a lot of people who's unaware of their unconscious mind, by the time they become 35 years old, we become a series of computer programs, basically, of unconscious habits that we do. You wake up in the morning, you go to the toilet, you put on a lotion, you put on your clothes or your jacket, you go to work or you go to the university with the same road, same car you take, you meet the same people in uni and you meet the same people at work. After that, you go home, you have dinner with your friends or with your family, and then you go sleep, you watch Netflix, for example, and you do it all over again and again and again and again. You're not really wiring yourself with new brain connections, right? And the fastest way is actually through learning, right? So 95% of your mind is built upon is coming from the unconscious mind, right? So just like a computer program that requires a software upgrade every now and then, right? To sort of protect themselves from viruses or to keep up with the new tech, we as human beings need to have that continuous upgrade as well, software upgrade. So I call it the mind upgrade as well, right? So we need to be able then to plant the seeds, the right seeds in our subconscious mind, so that whatever we want to do to achieve that sort of thing that you strive for becomes an unconscious part of you, and then all the habits that you need to achieve that will just come out naturally. And this is exactly what I mean by there is no one solution for all. Everybody will have different solutions. And once you can tap into that region, then you can just figure it out on your own. Do you have any questions from now until now?
No,
yeah.
It's actually my first time being explained about consciousness, and it seems like it's kind of a very important foundation of your life, isn't it?
Definitely. I mean, it's come from the Buddhist religious background as well.
Yes, right.
But I'm not quite a religious person as well. So as long as there's some essence of science into it, then I quite love the work, and that's why I do what I do, really.
Because in the end, both of them just like religion, like science, like it just makes us into one topic to be able to improve yourself, like through consciousness.
Correct. Everybody has got a different road, but the journey is the same, right? To grow, to be able to grow. So yeah, I mean, these things, looking into yourself, looking into the power of your own mind, your own beliefs and your values, these things you can't really often find in books or universities, or even in podcasts or in YouTube videos, right? I mean, they'll tell you what to do and guide you, but at the end of the day, what you believe in is only solely for yourself, right?
If in Indonesian we see it, banyak jalan menuju Roma. Right?
Banyak kenapa?
Banyak jalan menuju Roma. A lot of roads to Rome, but in the end,
Rome.
you'll be reaching.
Correct.
Rome.
Okay, so one of the best way actually in raising your consciousness is to practice what I call practice mindfulness. I'm sure you're quite familiar with this concept.
Oh yes, mindfulness just teaches you so much about how to act in the present, how to focus, right, Mr. Girish?
Correct. So basically, mindfulness is basically teaching you how to become more conscious and more aware about your thoughts and your surroundings, about how you're feeling, about how you're checking in with yourself, right? So remember earlier when I said, I wake up at 5 in the morning and I meditate as well. The millionaire habits that on Instagram you see that people wake up at 5 in the morning, meditate, journal,
have a cold shower, and exercise for 30 minutes, get moving, and so on, right? These things actually work, but it does not necessarily make you a millionaire. These habits are very important to be able for you to ground yourself every morning, just to be able to disconnect from everybody around you, be present with yourself, allows you to check in with yourself. Whether or not the intentions that you are setting today, is really true to what you want to be doing. Because if you wake up in the morning, like, how many of you like actually wake up and the first thing you do is check on your phone?
Oh, that's me and them.
Everybody else here,
everyone.
right? Check on your phone, and before you sleep as well. Is that the last thing you see?
Certainly.
Right? And sometimes when you wake up and you see your phone, for example, and you see a bad news, whether it's touch wood, a terrorist attack, or somebody's had a loss, or whatever bad news it is, wouldn't it affect your energy early in the morning? For example, your mood, for example, right?
Yeah, and it just goes throughout the whole day.
Right. So it just it has the potential of ruining the whole day as well, right? The same as when you're about to sleep, you watch something, if you watch the news, for example, right? And you see all these terrible things that's happening all over the world, for example, and then you suddenly turn off your phone and you go to sleep, and that's the last thing you're actually watching before you go to bed. And when you're dreaming and then you wake up and you say, why do I have these nightmares? Why do I feel this way? Why do I feel that way, right? Because we always are feeding our brain with a lot of crap, to be honest.
Yes, a lot
right?
A lot of people sleep angry due to these stuff. So.
Correct. So yes, these routines and these habits actually keep you grounded, right? To be able to become present with yourself first, before revealing yourself to the world, right? And the more you do this, the more over time, it will actually make you a better human being, right? And whatever you want to achieve, right? Whatever goals you want to have. So yeah, practicing mindfulness is very important. I personally practice a lot of meditation. I'm a meditation junkie. I meditate almost 2 hours in a day, 1 hour in the morning and then 1 hour in the evening as well, between office hours. But there's other ways that you can do, not just meditation. So meditation is really, the idea of meditation is becoming familiar with yourself. Again, it's nothing religious. Yes, it dives in a bit more spiritual, but when people close their eyes, there's a lot of thoughts that come in your mind, for example, right? These thoughts are just basically coming in from your subconscious, sometimes your conscious thoughts. And the goal of meditation is really just to watch as a spectator. So you know what you are thinking. So if you are, for example, you want to achieve, for example, become a millionaire, right? Let's talk about that, right? And then you close your eyes and you listen to your thoughts, and your thoughts are telling you, yeah, you're not good enough. The same way in the morning, I was like looking in the mirror, it's like, yeah, you're not good enough. You're going to screw up this public speaking thing in the university, right? So after that, I actually went in to close my eyes and be like, why am I thinking like this? I'm watching it. Why is this voice coming into my head, right? I'm checking in with myself. I'm checking to what I'm telling myself. A lot of people actually here, including myself, are so good in giving advice to other people, whether it comes to relationships, whether it comes to work. I'm so good. Like I was like, everybody used to come to me like when in high school as well, like why is she behaving this way? Why is he doing this to me? And so on. What do I do? Blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to giving advice to myself, I was terrible, right? We all are a victim of that, right? So this is about mainly checking in with yourself and then talking to yourself more kindly, more humble in that sense. So other methods other than meditation is, for example, you can do a lot of journaling as well. Writing down your thoughts into a piece of paper is a great way of expressing your emotions. You should never, ever, ever suppress your emotions. If you have to cry, you need to cry. If you are angry, then you got to be angry. You should never, never, never suppress your emotions. Yeah. So yeah, the goal here is basically to practice becoming aware of your thoughts and feelings. And the more you have control over this, the more you can set intentions in your life, okay, to achieve whatever you want. And I mean whatever and whenever you want, okay? It all starts here. If you can start controlling this and tap into your subconscious mind, nothing will eventually stop you. So I want to just explain a concept about how I achieved what I wanted. Like one of my dreams in the last, I would say 3 to 4 years was to have a body transformation, right? And I want to share a bit about my personal journey. I was introduced to meditation about 3 years ago by this guy called Vishen Lakiani. Is a very famous growth, personal development, entrepreneur as well. He runs a company called Mind Valley, which is a university of growth. Okay, and he introduced to me a topic called creative visualization. And what that basically means is like going into meditation by closing your eyes, okay, and just visualizing an event that you want to achieve or want to happen in your life that's not happened yet, right? So you have a vision board at home. I'm sure a lot of you have got vision boards at home where you put up your goals, right? You put up your dream car, your dream house, your dream relationship, maybe, I don't know, like what you all are putting up there. But I know people do that, and I used to do that as well, but it would never come to me, and I'm just realizing why it's not coming to me, right? Because when I check in with myself, I'm just like, my voice inside of me is telling me different things that, the vision board is telling me that I could achieve. So it's not aligned, right? So what I used to do is that I used to actually train my brain using creative visualizations. So this concept is quite interesting, because if you can understand that your brain does not know the difference between a thought and an actual experience. This is where the science part comes quite fun. So what I mean by that is, let's just say, Gary, you broke up with your girlfriend 2 months ago, right? And you come to this talk show and I'm like, why is your mood so, like, why is your energy so down? And you'll be like, yeah, Girish, because she broke up with me 2 months ago and I'm feeling distraught. And as we started talking about it more and more and more, all the emotions that you felt when your girlfriend broke up with you started coming up again, right? Have you guys felt that way before? Yeah,
like those things buried just shows back up.
It shows back up, right? And these are all the suppressed emotions, and that's because your brain does not know the difference between the event. The event happened 2 months ago, but you are experiencing it right now. That means your brain, when the event happened, took a snapshot, right? Called it a memory and stored it inside your body. And when you pick up that memory, you start feeling these emotions again in your body. So your brain is basically using your body as an instrument to feel your emotions, right? So does that make sense then? If you can feel your energy is down by picking up a memory from the past, because your brain does not know the difference, you can actually also train your brain to experience an event that's not happened yet, because the brain doesn't know the difference between a thought and an experience. So if you can actually plant a thought in your brain, and every single day you think about it, you dream it, you become it every single day, your brain will eventually not know the difference that you are in the experience or not. And when you can train yourself to the point where you feel so whole and complete already, you may not even want the thing anymore in the future, because you're already becoming that you're already feeling that right now. So yeah, I started the meditation on body transformation. I was just sitting myself down, closing my eyes for 5 minutes every day. I would actually feel what it would be like to have the body that I want to achieve, right, for the next 2 years. And I would set realistic goals. How would it feel like to come out from the pool like James Bond does?
Oh, yeah,
like you stepping like that, right? And I did that a couple of weeks ago with my in Bali. But anyway, yeah, when you close your eyes, you want to train your brain to be able to feel the sensations, all the 5 senses in your body. So if you close your eyes, you feel it. How would it feel to touch the water? How would it feel to actually have that body? Would it be, how hard would it be? What would the smell be like? Like if you can go down that deep, your brain will not know the difference. And then eventually, after 2 years, I'm sitting here with you right now, and you can click next. I'll show you. This was me. Right. This is me taking a shot a month ago, and this is 7 months ago. And this is after I had COVID, right after I had COVID. And during COVID as well, I quite had a bad mild pneumonia. So it was not like an easy process. To get back to the level of fitness I needed to, took a while. But that whole journey, even though it felt like now I'm sitting here with you seamless, there was a lot of hard work, no doubt. But I'm not here feeling, insanely happy about it, because 2 years ago, I've already trained my brain to be happy about it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you guys want to learn a bit more about meditation, hit me up on DM, or you can just ask me on Q&A later, and I'll just give you guys a few guidelines to get started with. Yeah. So the next step into being able to reduce yourself to zero is to practice vulnerability. Now, in order to practice vulnerability, you need to first be able to complete step one, right? And what does it mean to become vulnerable, right? Being vulnerable means being open for wounding, but also for pleasure, right? Being open to the wounds of life means also being open to the bounty and beauty, right? So coming here to talk to you, for example, and sharing my truth, you know, as nervous as I am, I was shaking my feet and my heart pumping, for example, this is me being vulnerable, right? Putting myself purposely in positions where it is outside my comfort zone. I still am feeling outside because I hate public speaking actually, right? And this is me being vulnerable, right? So for me, it might be different. For you, it might be different, right? So it's the same thing, right? How I define vulnerability, what makes me vulnerable and what makes you vulnerable could be different. You may have different fears. For example, what sort of fears do you have, for example?
Oh, I am afraid of the dark.
The dark?
Yes.
Okay. So I've got a fear of heights, for example, right?
I used to have that.
You used to have that, yeah. So how do you overcome it? The fastest way to overcome it is actually to put yourself in that position first, purposely, right? So that you become okay with it. I'm sure now the next public speaking event I go to, my body will already be more comfortable talking to a larger audience maybe here, right? So that's what I mean by practicing vulnerability. Whether it's good or bad, you know, you shouldn't be afraid to be able to talk about your emotions, your fears, your insecurities. Like, this is where you get to be yourself, okay? This is the world I call the world of the unknown, the world of the uncertainty, where you have no idea what the outcome is going to be. You know, when you see that beautiful girl in the bar, for example, and you're standing there with your friends and you're feeling nervous as shit, like you don't know if you should approach that person, right? And your heart starts, you got this butterflies, the same thing, right? You don't know if she's gonna say yes or no to you, or she's open to having a conversation with you, or she's open to giving her number to you, right? So, but as a man or as a person, as a human being, you got to do it anyway. Because at the end of the day, if you don't do it, can you live with that decision? So I'm not talking about approaching a girl. This could mean bigger decisions in your life, right? So you need to be able to practice yourself into that unfamiliar, you know, discomfort positions, to be able to trust yourself more into making better decisions for you. There are three main steps into practicing vulnerability. And the first one is practicing self-expression. Now, the easiest way you can do this is via, for example, social media, right? So instead of focusing on the likes and the comments on Instagram or on the YouTube, you know, a lot of content creators now, they seek the like, they seek the comments, they get affected by what people are telling them, right? But if you can be unapologetic, right? If you can just be unapologetically yourself, that's really, really the goal, you know? Because this is what we mean by not seeking the validation and approval from others, right? Like, why do you have to let something the outside of you affect you as a human being, right? If you can create your own happiness, if you can create your own sadness, whatever feelings that you can create your own, you know, then you know you are practicing your self-expression, right? So yeah, it's taking responsibility of your thoughts, putting your shame aside, for example, nggak ada malu, right? People say that, right? And then your fears, insecurities, and a lot of people may like you, they may not like you. And you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with people laughing at you on stage. I've had an incident where, you know, I was doing this Asian night event with my university in England, and I fell while I was dancing for a performance, and I fell because I dislocated my knee, and everybody started laughing because they thought it was part of the show. And, you know, you had to be okay. It didn't really affect me, of course. But, you know, from there I learned, like, no matter what you do, however good you get, there are always going to be people who not like you. And when people do not understand you, people are not making sense of what you're doing, then you are actually on the right path. Does that make sense? Right? So yeah, when I spoke about the bar example, if you were the girl approaching the guy and society is telling you, no, but the guy has to approach, For me, I call it one of the bullshit rules of society.
Oh yeah.
Right? We call it the rules, and this is from that guy Vision as well. So yeah, I mean, if you are a girl, you tell the guy you love the guy, go say it. Like, who's to say that you can't tell the person you love the person, right? Just because you're a girl doesn't mean you can't approach the guy. That's all nonsense to me.
Because we're the same. We both can
Just
love.
connect. You gotta connect with your own values so that you are able to express them. Girl or boy, doesn't matter. Yeah. The second is to reach out and connect. So we human beings are almost always wired for connection, right? We're always seeking safety. We're always seeking relationships. Yeah. So it is important that we are able to create a safe space, whether it's with our parents, whether it's with our families, with our close friends, to be able to reach out, to be able to talk about our insecurities, about our fears, to be able to talk through about our day, our emotions and our thoughts, whatever it is we're going through. I myself have gone through anxiety, for example, stages of depression as well, failures in businesses, failures in relationships. And for me to be able to overcome that, you have to reach out and get help, no matter what it is, right? Whether it's you having a good time, you want to be sharing these news to your close ones, whether it's you going through a period of tough time, you want to be able to connect and reach out for help. So yeah, I even have a mental coach. So I have a business coach, I have a mental coach, I have a trainer, a gym coach. So you got to have these people in your life so that you can create a safe space for you to connect. We are human beings. We cannot do this on our own. It's not a one-man show. Okay. So the final step in practicing vulnerability, as I said earlier as well at the beginning, is to put yourself in positions where you know you are almost going to fail. And because at the end of the day, no matter whatever you do, I don't care how strong you are, I don't care if you're the richest man in the world, you are going to fail. That's a fact. Okay. So it's better that you guys start accepting this and get okay with failure, because that's the fastest way you can actually succeed. That's the fastest way in actually, in you getting what you want in your life, right? So you can see here, this is basically your comfort zone. This is basically not just your comfort zone, but also what society perceives you to be, okay? Everything, all the rules in your society, when you see other people are doing the same things on Instagram, for example, and you feel comfortable in that, and you feel comfortable in that state of being, like you're not challenged, you're not push yourself, then you are just going in like an average direction, I would say. So everybody's living their life here, right? You want to be somewhere different, whether it's here or here or here. You don't want to be following the trend. All the great success never, ever, ever follows the trend.
Instead, they make it, don't they?
They make it. And they make it with themselves, with what they believe in, right? It could be the same, it could be not, but at the end of the day, they don't care whatever people are the surrounding says. Most success happens when people tell them, oh, this is not going to happen, right? And that motivates them to do even more and more and more, right? So you want to be here, right? You want to be where the magic happens. You want to be in the unknown area where you don't know where you're actually going to succeed or fail. You never know that, but you always continuously want to be putting yourself in that position purposely. Does that make sense? Yeah?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So finally, in order to reduce yourself to zero, as I said earlier, you can meditate all you want, you can visualize all you want, you can try manifesting all you want. But my niece once told me that if you do not trust yourself enough, right, nothing will shift for you, right? So I'm going to use what we call the 1% rule. The 1% rule is basically the power of tiny gains, the power of compounding. And I said earlier, it's not a concept that you just use in the stock market or investment. Warren Buffett says the power of compounding. When you invest something small of your income into a particular fund every month consistently, that value grows over time, right? But in a later stage in the future, right? That same concept you can apply to your own life. So in order to do the 1% rule is to actually celebrate the small wins, If you can click next. Sorry, yeah. Again, next. To be able to celebrate the small wins, right? The small successes, right? So it may be a success, it may not be a success in the eyes of others, but as long as you know it's a success for you, you need to be able to go out and celebrate it. The same way when there's failures, others see it as a failure, how you perceive it can be perceived differently, right? And you start celebrating these small successes. Start paying your dues, for yourself, no, not for anybody else. And you will see the change, no matter what you do, right? And it works. The same way when you go to the gym, for example, and the first week, you can go to the gym for the first month and then slack on the second month, right? But nothing will happen to your body. But if you constantly go to the gym for maybe 4 times a week for the rest of your life, your body will see a change after like a good significant period of time, right? It may hurt at the beginning, right? But eventually over time, it will compound in your life and you will get something out of it, right? So yeah, and the easy part is that if you already achieve the first 2, which is raising your consciousness and also practice vulnerability, action then becomes a byproduct, right? Because when you're able to reduce yourself to 0, when you're no longer needing the validation and approval of other people, right? Including your close friends, your family, maybe, I'm not saying not listen to them. Of course, we are all here to guide just the way I am here to guide. But if you can let that go and just really stick with what you believe in, right? And put your mind into 0 and disconnect, then nothing will stop you because you have nothing to lose at that point, right? Then you will just act. You will just go on like a bullet train and nothing will stop you. Even though you'll come into hurdles in your life, but you know that these are your own thoughts and these are only your values. You are your own hero in that sense. So action then becomes a byproduct. So yeah, basically, if change was really easy, then everybody would be doing it, right? And Mahatma Gandhi also said that be the change in others.
Exactly.
Right? That's one of the quote. And I think you mentioned one quote as well when we were in the...
Oh yeah. So one of the quote that actually stuck onto me is that, like what you said, failing is also learning, isn't it?
Correct.
And like, don't be afraid to fail, because Mahatma Gandhi actually, he said this: live as if you were to die tomorrow, but learn as if you were to live forever, because that just sticks on you for the rest of your life. You keep on learning. Even when you wake up in the morning, you learn to face another day. You learn to open your eyes again. You learn to like sit straight and like just face the day no matter what will happen.
Correct. So I really like that quote. The way I see it is that, life is not like a mountain, right? It's not like there's ever going to be a peak. So forget that. There is no hero, there is no peak. There is no end goal. Because if you see it as if there's an end goal, once you reach the peak, what happens after that? There's only downwards, right? It's like a mountain, right? So it's better that you don't see a peak. It's better that you see that you keep climbing, but you might fall and you climb and you might fall and you climb and you might fall. And you got to fall in love with that process. That's really the idea. And I can tell you from my experience, because I climbed out Mount Rinjani a couple of months ago on a solo hike. And I've always thought that reaching the summit, would make me feel like I'm in love with life and I feel alive and I found myself and so on. But once I reached the summit, I was just like, biasa aja kok ini, orang sebelah gue lagi nangis. Like somebody next to me is like crying their heart out, I'm just like, why do I feel so biasa, Like I don't feel so much. Like but the process of me going up the hill, the mental challenge, the physical challenge, and then even going down after that, that is what I love. I love being close to that pain. And that's why I love working out as well, because I like to put my body in discomfort first thing in the morning.
It teaches you a lesson.
It teaches you a lesson, really does. So yeah, I think that would just end my presentation. I think we are almost close to time as well. But yeah, so just to summarize everything again quickly, my definition of a hero is someone with the ability and the power to be able to reduce themselves to 0. And that reducing yourself to 0 is basically that ego, as I said, of wanting to seek validation and approval from others. And 3 ways of doing so: you got to raise your consciousness by doing the inner work, first tapping into yourself, finding out what your beliefs are, your values are, because as I said, we all have different stories, different backgrounds, right? Second step is to practice vulnerability. And the third step is the 1% rule, which is action and the power of compounding. So yeah, at the end of the day, it's not you versus anybody else. It's about you versus you. So it's always a better version of yourself that you have to chase. That is your hero, right? And I got this idea actually from one of my favorite actors, Matthew McConaughey, you know?
Yes, of course, Matthew McConaughey.
The guy who played in Interstellar. So I'm just going to show a slide in a video. I think there's a link here. If you can just forward to that, yeah, 150.
I like how there's so much lessons to be learned.
Yeah, I know it's trying a lot, a lot jumbled in 1 hour.
Yeah, but like everyone now like understands, it just teaches you like life is a lesson, but when someone like you just comes and help us, it just inspires us to do so much more.
Thank you. Thank you. Can we get that on?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Stern, Nebraska.
The YouTube,
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Muted as well, yeah.
It's such an
So yeah, that was him talking about a zero, which is himself every 10 years. And I think we should really just take that end statement and apply it with our own lives as well. And remember, there's always you versus you. That's it, Gary. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Girish. Now, there are actually a couple of questions that has been put in, one personally by me and a lot of others. May I ask what it for you?
Yeah,
Mr.
of
Girish?
course.
So this is something that I've known from experience, and like I'm still trying to get over this certain feeling. But why do people fail to perceive good things about themselves? Like they are conscious about the negative stuff, and like they try to fix it, but due to them being overwhelmed by this emotion, they fail to see the positive side. But at the same time, when people ask, "Hey man, why are you so negative?" The person just answers with a simple reason that is just, "Oh, I'm negative about myself because I want to further develop myself." Like
because you're afraid. Sorry.
like they say that, "Why are you so negative about yourself?" Right? And like I keep on answering, "Oh, it's because if I perceive myself good, then I won't be able to develop myself because I'll think good of myself." Right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And like, is that actually a good attitude, or is it like something you need to change?
Okay, I'm trying to understand the question. Okay, so being negative or being positive should just be as is, accept it. You got to accept it. So it's an emotion, it's a feeling, right? Negativity, positivity, you cannot constantly be positive. If anybody is trying to tell you to be positive all the time, we call that toxic positivity, right? So as a human being, as I said, we have to be able to feel all emotions, whether it's good, whether it's bad, right? That's the first step. You got to first accept that. So when you're feeling like crap, or when you're feeling guilty, or when you're feeling grief, or you're feeling negative, or you're feeling down, that's okay. You just have to go through that process. You cannot fight it. It's not something you can fight, right? You just gotta, because the more you fight it, the more actually it comes back and revolve in your life. I just create a space. So when you talk about negativity, create a space for negativity in your life. That's fine, right? So be it. If it's there, right? Maybe it's because when you grew up, for example, you're always seeing circumstances that's not good for you or whatever, you know, and you see so many negative things happening, whether it's in the news and everything, and you learn all of that, right? And yes, of course, it's not good to always think negative, but create that space that you are a human being too, that you can feel negative if you want to. So when you accept that, then you start also giving space for positivity. So when you can start seeing the good things in the little small things in your life, you know, when you feel the sense of gratitude, for example, that's one of the biggest emotions that you can ever feel, being thankful, right? Then you can sort of balance it out, and then all the negative emotions, negative feels will start coming down, slowly being replaced by this. But if you fight against it, and if people come tell to you why you're so negative, why you're this, you just got to accept it as is. You know, I'm going through something right now, for example, you know, let me be, for example. So it's not something that will hold you back, or you don't have to be positive all the time to get what you want.
We just need to balance, don't we? Sometimes
you gotta, everything is about balance. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, does that answer the question?
Yes,
Yeah.
very much. And like from Evangeline, what should we do if things don't turn out the way? What should we remind ourselves?
If things don't work out the way you want to work out, I'm not going to actually go far as to say, yes, there is always going to be a positive side in the future, but I think the best way to see it is you take out a piece of paper and see currently in your life what is working out for you. So that particular thing, you put it aside, the thing that's not working out, but take out a piece of paper, write on all the things that's working out for you, and be grateful for that, because you have a bigger role than actually getting to that what you want in life. There's so many people around you. You could be a brother, you could be a father, you could be a mother, you could be a son. You have these particular roles and these particular relationships in your life, or a particular material stuff that you have in your life that you can be grateful for right now. And that is exactly the first thing you need to remind yourself. That will keep you grounded again and try to get that thing you want in your life again, or pursue something else, for example. But you need to be able to ground yourself and remember, hey, look around, I'm still here, I'm still alive, I'm still breathing. So be grateful for that moment first and try and practice that on a daily basis.
Certainly. So just be mindful.
Be mindful.
Be mindful. It all goes back to that. Like Mr. Girish, does inner work, is it important for us as an inspiring entrepreneur in the future?
Entrepreneur?
Yes.
100%.
100%.
100%. Because again, as a successful entrepreneur, if you are showcasing values of other people, if you're sharing values of other people, then you're not really making change and influencing others, right? So if you can already know who you are as a person, that's great. Maybe you don't have to do the inner work, right? I've got a few friends who does not even like meditating because they're so confident with themselves. They say meditation screws up my mind, for example, right? But if you don't know where you are in your life, and you got to start looking into yourself, like who are you as a human being, and what values do you have that you want to apply on other people? Being an entrepreneur, you want to be able to instill values of yourself to others, right? It's no longer about visions and missions and statements anymore. Things have changed. People are getting more emotional, creating more emotional space in work as well, in work cultures as well. You know, you go into work, it's not immediately about boom, 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 working and you are stuck in that box, right? It's about coming in, talking. Now you have that open work, co-working, talking about the movie you watched last night, talking about how this date of yours went really well last night and so on, talking about the movie and so on, right? So you got to be able to create that space at work culture, right? Be able to express yourself as a person. And if you are already expressing yourself as a person as unapologetic, then maybe you don't need to do the inner work. But if you are still closed up, you're not opening your heart, you're not welcoming other people in your life as much, you know, or putting yourself out there the way you want to, that means you have to do the inner work for sure.
So guys, yeah, you want to be an entrepreneur. That means you're gonna be able to inspire other people, but you gotta work on yourself first.
100%.
Yourself, then others, guys. That's always the urutan that you must go through.
Yeah.
And like we're going back to the kind of friends team here, Mr. Girish. Like, do friends give us big impact or influence to our spirit, especially on inner work?
Depends. I would always say surround yourself with people who believe in you more than you believe in yourself. Because when times are hard for you and you're going through a lot of things in your life, whether it's in university or business or even relationships, if you don't have the core people to, you know, the non-judgmental people, like your friends are there just to listen. They shouldn't be there to judge you. Once they start judging you and getting involved in your life, then that's them trying to get involved, and that they're not really supporting you. What you need is they need to be able to create the space for you to process whatever you're going through, the good and the bad, right? So yes, they have a big influence as long as it's the right friends that you have, right? And secondly, surround yourself with people who you aspire to be, for sure, right? If you work, for example, what I would suggest, for example, the first few years of your 20s, I would work with anybody for free. Like I would go to my role model or my mentor and be like, hey, can I just work with you for free, you know? And then maybe in 2 years, if I've learned enough skills from you, Maybe you can hire me as a full-time, you know. So you want to be learning from the people who are way smarter than you. Even when it comes to when you are as an entrepreneur, you want to be hiring people who are smarter than you as well, right? Because then that way you can delegate and just focus on the things you are good at, right? You always need to focus on your strengths. Yes, you'll have weaknesses, but why do something that you don't like? Why, you know, if you're not one into trading or investment where everybody's doing it now because of FOMO, right? On the coins and the cryptos and so on, right? Why do it if it's not you? Just because out of fear of missing out, for example. So always focus on your strengths, surround yourself with the right people, and really cut out the negative ones. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Girish. And now, what do you think if we stay for just a while, maybe in our comfort zone because we're tired of the problems that are currently hitting us? Like, what if for one day, for example, or a couple of days, we just cower inside our comfort zone?
You need to rest 100%. The same way where, you know, I can't train every single day when it comes to the gym because your body needs to recover, right? So you need to be able to listen to your body, right? But when you're doing this inner work, it's then when you're checking in with yourself. Okay, I'm feeling very tired today. Maybe I'll take a couple of days off because I'm going through this thing that's happening in my life, or work is just going on too much for me. Maybe I'm feeling burnt out, right? So I want to take a couple of days off. So you are actually taking that decision by doing the inner work to take the rest you need, right? By rest, I don't mean being home, being on your social media or Netflix, but just doing things that make yourself happy, right? Whether it's through sports, whether it's through, and just disconnecting from everything, whether it's your phone and the computer and the TV and so on. So yeah, give yourself a break if you need to do what you need to do. Like, be you. Like, nobody's here to tell you to do anything. Like, whether it's taking a few days off work, I do that all the time. Yeah.
Like as a rest ya kawan-kawan ya. You guys have to be able to balance karena when things don't balance, they kind of overwhelm each other. They just eat each other, don't they, Mr. Girish?
So yeah, speaking about balance, like I'm a guy who I don't believe in like strict regimes and strict routines as well, right? Yes, I have a good morning routine. Yes, I work out and I get myself fit, but almost every week I eat unhealthy food as well. Like, you know, I would follow this rule of 80% consistency and 20% you can enjoy your life. Do whatever you want, literally, right? And you will see that with the power of compounding, over time, it'll actually have no effect at 20% and your 80%. So you don't have to be 100%. If you don't wake up at 5 a.m., if you don't wake up at 6 a.m., if you don't meditate, it's okay. As long as you talk to yourself instead of feeling guilty, oh, gua nggak bangun nih kemarin, shit, man. The more you do that, the more you're actually breaking the cycle. But if you can calm yourself down and be like, okay, kemarin gua nggak olahraga nih, gak apa-apa lah, gua mau break hari ini, but besok I'll do it again. Yeah.
Constantly.
It's like that. It's always like that. It's always like that. Because I've been on the fitness journey for 10 years now. I didn't see any improvement until this year. Go lihat, go ke gym, to join every single club, name it, celebrities, the Gold Gym, and this, everything. Nothing helped for me, because I always was not kind to myself. So I always wake up, waduh gua skip, waduh gua kemarin clubbing di sini lah, gua nggak bisa keluar lagi nih, you know, capek lah inilah. That excuses and that guilt builds. So you focus on the guilt, dia bakal lebih guilty lagi. And the more tomorrow you'll feel lazier. So this time, if I do go out, like I went out last week, Monday, I push myself, it'll get even more uncomfortable. But when you have that one push, then it'll become normal again, the cycle. So always give time for yourself to rest and break, but don't feel guilty about it. That's very important.
Just don't beat yourself about it.
Yeah, just don't feel guilty. Like, you want to take a break, no problem.
Harus guys ya, berarti mas jadi break, rest itu semua harus guys in order to fully maximize.
100%. Yeah.
Maximize. And like one more question, Mr. Girish, is there any tips for extremely busy people? Maybe like you, for extremely busy people who has tight schedules to have time to meditate.
Yeah, there's no excuses here. I'm sorry, guys. So basically, you can meditate anywhere, anytime in your life, in your day. As I said, meditation doesn't take hours. Some people do it for hours. Yes, I do it for hours, but it can be as small as just maybe 5 minutes of your day. I'm not even asking you to do 15 minutes. Literally, the first thing in the morning, you wake up, you do your morning toilet routine, and you just sit with your thoughts for 5 minutes, and that's it. Or even on the way to the university, on the way to work, for example, Just close your eyes and just see what you're telling yourself. And don't be scared, because it could, bring up flashes and thoughts that you don't want to hear. And just be there, accept it as it is. And when you start doing that, and you'll find more and more and more time. The CEO of Twitter, I forgot his name, but anyway, he puts in about 2 hours of meditation. He's probably one of the busiest mans in the world.
He's CEO of Twitter.
Twitter, right? So he puts in 2 hours of meditation, one in the morning, one in the afternoon as well. And I also have about 3 businesses at the moment, and I still have be able to put in my meditation. And if I skip it, I skip it. Sometimes I do shorter ones, sometimes I do my long ones. So there is always time if you make time. That is the hardest part, yes. But once you can make time, then you'll see your life start shifting. Things will happen for you. Things will happen through you. You will not just force things. You start seeing things happening, aligning with what you want.
Certainly. It's just kawan-kawan. At the end of the day, gak ada waktu buat waktu.
Benar. If it's important to you, you make time. Don't find time. So how important is it to you to do the inner work? Right? If it's important, you make time. Same way with anything you do in life, right? Kalau nggak ada time, berarti nggak gitu penting buat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like jawab WA cewek bisa, meditate bisa juga dong. Come on guys, it's the same. It's like you have to make time for it.
Exactly.
And like I guess Q&A session, Mr. Girish, I would like to really thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
And as a token of appreciation, I would like to hand you this placard and certificate, and will be given by Pak Jami as the head of student life in Podomo University, Michael Samuel as a supervisor of this event, and Fendia as the head of Series of Growth 2.0. Thank you so much, Mr. Girish. That's just a small token of our appreciation for coming here. We're gonna take a picture, Mr. Girish. Okay. Here? Yes. Just maybe here, Mr. Girish, a little bit to your right. Yeah, camera's up there. Yuk. 1. Mari kawan-kawannya. 1, 2, 3. Maybe sekali lagi. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Pak Jami, Michael Samuel, and Fendia for coming. And maybe one more picture for the online Zoom participants, maybe Mr. Girish. Guys, buka kamera. Kapan lagi sama Mr. Girish ya, the Prince of Jakarta's Indian food scene. Come on, kapan lagi guys, Queen Standard. Ayo ya kawan-kawan ya. Mari.
Baiklah, saya akan memimpin sesi dokumentasi pada hari ini. Di sini ada 5 slide. Saya akan mulai dari slide pertama. Slide pertama, 1, 2, 3. Slide kedua, 1, 2, 3. Slide ketiga, 1, 2, 3. Slide keempat, 1, 2, 3. Dan slide terakhir, slide kelima, 1, 2, 3. Terima kasih.
Mr. Girish, once again, also thank you so much, sir. It's such an honor to be able to hear from you, your insights, and I hope that we'll be able to meet again, converse again. And I hope you stay healthy, stay fit, stay buff. And I guess I will see you soon, Mr. Girish. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Hati-hati, Pak. Thank you so much. Guys, just so much insight here. Although it's just an hour, you get a lifetime worth of inspiring words. You get a lifetime of lessons, kawan-kawan ya. Because like, just keep in mind, kawan-kawan ya, it has to be you. It has to always start from you. It has to always start from yourself, kawan-kawan. So now, last but not least, like last week, kawan-kawan, I have showed you guys what is for me one of the best dance teams in the world, and it wouldn't be wrong to show it 2 times, but with a different dance choreography. Ladies and gentlemen, reintroducing Indonesia's best team, no, the world's best team, Exalted.
awards. They still selling dope, that's those Miami boys. Killers everywhere, it ain't no place to run. Forgive me for my wrongs, I have just begun. Ain't no mercy, ain't no mercy. Huh. Got that purple Lamborghini lurking. Ain't no mercy, ain't no mercy. Huh. Got that purple Lamborghini lurking.
A little fire, no give me the light. I want a little fire, no give me the light. I want a little fire, no give me the light. No give me the light, no give me the light. I want a little fire, no give me the light. I want a little fire, no give me the light. I want a little fire, no give me the light. No give me the light.
Burn up the dance, 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 burn up the dance. 1, 2, 3, burn up the.
Everybody in the club go to work. I'ma rock to the beat till it hurt. Everybody in the club go to work. I'ma rock to the beat till it hurt. Everybody in the club go to work. I'ma rock to the beat till it hurt. Everybody in the club go to work, 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 work.
Work, 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 work. You see me, I be work, 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 work. You see me do me da 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 da. You saw me by that work, 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 work. When you walk a la 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 la. I'm in the cafe, my da 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 da. Work, 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 work. You see me, I be work, 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 work. You see me do me work, 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 work. You see me do me da 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 da. You saw me by that 1, 2, 3, burn up the.
Tripping in the world could be dangerous. Everybody circling as vultures. Negative, nepotist. Everybody waiting for the fall of man. Everybody praying for the end of times. Everybody hoping they could be the one. I was born to run, I was born for this. Whip, run me like a racehorse. Pull me like a ripcord. Break me down and build me up. I wanna be the slip. Word upon your lip. Better that you rip. Break me down and build me up. Whatever it takes. 'Cause I love the adrenaline in my veins. I do whatever it takes. 'Cause I love how it feels when I break the chains. Whatever it takes. Yeah, take me to the top. I'm ready for whatever it takes. 'Cause I love the adrenaline in my veins. Whatever it
Down low. Hip hop. Pick it up, pick it, pick it, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it, pick it, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it, pick it, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it, pick it, pick it up, pick it.
My goodness, kawan-kawan, the dance. Itu udah kayak so much, you can move this, move there, semuanya dipindah. Oh, your whole body just moves so the beat, kawan-kawannya. That is from Podomoro's Exalted, guys. Saya pernah lupa nama itu karena akan diingat going world to height, guys ya. Kalian the Jabberwockies, amin kawan-kawannya. Jadi kawan-kawan jangan lupa link feedback akan dikirimkan di Zoom chat untuk absensi E dan juga untuk e-certificate. Jadi kawan-kawan, sadly this is the
Please help me, God. I feel so alone. I'm just a kid. I can't take it on my own. I've cried so many tears, yeah, writing this song. Trying to fit in, where do I belong? I wake up every day, don't wanna leave my home. My mama's asking me why I'm always alone. Too scared to say, too scared to holler. I'm walking to school with sweat around my collar. I'm just a kid. I don't want no stress. My nerves are bad. My life's a mess. The names you call